Welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jen.
And we are back. So if you've been following us on other social media, you know that we've been kind of offline for the past week or so, since Friday. My stepdad, which is, I'm lucky enough to have two dads, and we'll get into more detail into that, passed away Saturday morning. We were in Michigan getting ready to go to the Hootenanny. We were actually we stayed in the hotel. We were getting in the truck to go over to the campground and visit with everyone when we got the phone call. So we've taken time off to be with my mom and just everyone needing time to kind of heal. It was quite the shock and surprise. But we're back and we're ready, and we have missed you all.
Yes, we have.
So we're gonna show you a couple shots of around here because everything's just really overgrown because we haven't given enough attention to it. And then we thought we'd talk about Gary, my stepdad, a little bit. Let you all know how good of a man he was and just kind of honor him for a minute. So let's check these things out.
Let's do it.
So this garden is looking great. We are actually gonna have you all a garden tour tomorrow. But things are just popping. They need some attention. Our tomatoes need pruning and tying up. But everything else for the most part is being healthy. We're catching a couple things that are needing some attention. But this loofah, look at that bad boy. That's 100% shade you got up in there. Okra is getting huge. What's up, Charlie? Yeah. John misses. Yeah. You saw me every day. He's turned into just a pain. He's a little juvenile bug. Thinks he's king of the hillside. We're having to learn each other again. You ain't as sweet as you was when you was a baby, Charlie. Tilled garden is going crazy as always. Notice some of our plants, some of our squash plants, butternut squash is getting a little yellow, so we'll tackle that, but everything else is just getting really, really big and still doing awesome and producing a lot of good stuff. And then of course you got the babies. Check them out in here. What's up, y'all? Hey, Anna. Hey, Elsa. Someone's making a tea over there. But everybody's doing good over in here. Mama duck, Papa duck, all the chickens and the guineas. Get a T-bird. Ah! Hi, baby girl. Hi, baby. So that was a little quick glimpse of the animals and the garden and everything that's going on. Everybody is healthy, doing great. They just missed us. So it is time to get the attention back.
Which we were here morning and night tending to them, but if you know anything about our homestead, his mom and Gary live right down the hill. So our house is right above theirs. We set it up that way on purpose. We wanted to be near them, and Gary was the one that basically convinced us to do this, to live this way. He was really the only, everybody supported us, but Gary was like, he was our main encourager. You know, he wanted to do this, excuse me, he wanted to do this same kind of house and lifestyle and setup kind of thing. So when we told him that that's what we wanted, he was gung-ho about it, and he helped us every step of the way. So we were here morning and night feeding the animals and giving everyone water, but overall we have spent the past 4 days down the hill with his mom, just being there for her. You know, nobody wants to be alone during that kind of time, and we're close. If you know us at all, we're very close to our family. We don't have a lot of close friends. I mean, we do, but not, you know, people that we spend all of our time with. And for us, that's our parents. It always has been. It might be weird to some people, but you know, our parents are our best friends, and we do everything together. So she needed us and we needed her. So that's where we've been. We've been at her house, and the kids were there with us and enjoying that Memaw time, and just trying to basically figure out going forward what we're gonna do. And
what's that new normal?
Yeah, what's our new normal gonna be? And we haven't quite figured it out yet, but we're working on it.
So to kind of explain Gary a little bit, because sometimes I'll say stepdad, sometimes I'll say dad, sometimes I'll just say Gary. It's a mix. First off, he was a man that didn't really want to be on camera, so that's why we didn't have a whole lot of footage of him. I think the one that he was in the most was our Mother's Day one when we put up the pool, which was one of those memorable moments we won't forget. He thought it was so funny just doing all of that. Cat is very needy. And the second one is when we almost lost the black lace Wyandottes and the guineas ran them out. He helped me put up the motion sensor lights. But Gary, so when I was 3 years old, my mom and dad, it's a great relationship. They work co-parent perfectly. It was great all growing up. But Gary came into my life when I was 3 years old. So I had two dads. I never called him dad, I always called him Gary. He never had an issue with that, and it's what laid in, and it just stayed that way. But whenever I referenced him as my dad, and the same with my dad. So Gary did so much for my life that I didn't know I was missing, or that I needed, but he taught me so much. I wouldn't know how to do half this homesteading stuff if it wasn't for him. And I think the biggest thing that I struggle with is anytime I built something kind of at like a bigger scale, like the greenhouse or even like the chicken coops, any kind of structure, anything we've done in the house, I could see it in my head and I could draw the blueprint out on how I wanted to do it, but I didn't know how to start it, if that makes sense. Like I didn't know where to start at on the project. And so like Friday nights, we would all hang out together. Like that was the night that we hung out with my parents, and usually Saturday nights are when we hang out with her parents. The only reason it's not the same time is because usually they're switching kids for having the grandkid time. But he would, I would sit down with him and be like, let me tell you what I'm seeing, and here's what I drew, now how do I make it happen? How do I get started? Immediately. Giddies. Immediately he would know, and he would talk me through it on exactly how to start, and I was like, okay, I can actually see not just the finished product, but I can see the phases on how to do it. And that's something that he did forever. You know, whenever we would work on stuff, he would always take me out there to his garage, and he would just be like, even if you don't want to do it, watch me. Watch how I do things. It's not necessarily watch how I'm changing an alternator, watch my process and how I'm doing it. For example, anything he took apart, he wasn't an expert in like every single thing, but he knew how to work on things. So one thing that he would always teach me is if you're taking anything apart, to lay it out exactly how you took it apart, so when you put it back together, you know exactly how to get it back in there. And it's some of those small things that I didn't realize he was teaching me, but he did. And he taught so much. It's incredible the amount of knowledge that the man had. Really just by him watching his dad do the work, because his dad remodels old cars and all this different stuff. But I don't know, Gary, he knew a lot, and he wanted to share all of his information. He was a guy that wanted to be alone on the out, that's how it sounded.
He portrayed himself that way.
Yeah, he portrayed that he wanted to be alone, but he didn't. He wanted to be bothered, as he would say, because he loved the company too. A lot of people knew what Gary was like, or what he portrayed to be, but not a lot of people knew truly how Gary was. Gary's #1 attribute was being a grandfather. He was the best papaw.
World's best papaw.
Yeah. You know, everybody has these mugs of world's best dad, world's best papaw. He actually deserves the world's best papaw mug.
And sadly, not a lot of people knew that about Gary, because the way that we live our lives here is kind of secluded unless you're really part of the inner circle. And I hate to say it that way, but it's just kind of how it is. I know on YouTube, you know, we look, I don't know, really like outgoing and stuff, but if you really know us, this hillside and our family is pretty much all we do. We don't go out a lot, and we don't talk to a lot of people unless it's some kind of event or something, but
people come to the hillside. We don't go outside of that. So
we're kind of secluded. So the Gary that we knew was completely different from the Gary that everyone else knew. We spent a lot of time together, a lot of time. You know, sometimes even if we didn't want to, we just spent time together because it was nice to see someone else, and we were on the hillside. But we knew him very deeply in a way that other people did not. And one of those ways was watching him be a grandpa. And not a lot of people saw that, but we got to see it every day, and it's just incredibly special. My biggest, besides Carol and, you know, not wanting her to feel the heartbreak that she obviously was, our biggest concern was Wyatt. They were two peas in a pod. I mean, they did everything together. And Wyatt's only 6, and, you know, in my mind, I saw them in the garage doing what him and Zach did, you know, working on cars and doing all that kind of stuff, even when Wyatt was a teenager. So for that shock to come so suddenly, it, you know, a lot of our dreams died, unfortunately, with Gary. We wanted cows in the spring.
Yeah,
obviously that's, you know, that's still possible, but that was a dream that we had with Gary. That, you know, we wanted to do a whole lot more than we got to, and we feel robbed of that time, but we also know that there's a reason for everything. You know, we may not know what that is yet, but it'll come or it won't. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You know, we're not in control. It's not our choice how long we get to have people. You know, ultimately that's God's decision, and we understand that, but it doesn't make it not hurt.
Right. And you know, Gary he loved old square body trucks. I mean, he just loved them. And so he's got 3 down there right now that are actually things that can be put together. And I think total, like, of trucks, he's got like 4 or 5 that are down there, and it's just pieces of old square body Chevy trucks. And so I think 2 weeks ago, he bought him a ton truck that he just was in love with. He loved it. He had been using his brother's old truck to get back and forth for work while he kind of worked on his projects to get them ready. And so he finally decided to buy one that was actually just running and that he could start using. And I never got to ride in it. But last night, just so we could make sure it kept running and we keep it going, we took a ride on the hillside in it. And you know, he kept asking our advice on if he should get it, what we thought, and this and that. And I was like, man, I don't know, you throw that money into the ones that need to work on and get them running. But as soon as I turned it on and I hit the gas and the torque turned the truck, I mean, we knew why he bought it. It was an awesome truck. And one of the things he kept telling us was, I can't wait to see Wyatt and Raylan. You know, one day these are gonna be their trucks. And you know, I wish it was later down the road when they were now their trucks, but that's what he always wanted. And you know, I'm like taking it upon myself to, like, all right, now me and the kids are gonna fix these trucks to where they're fully functional. It might not be anytime extremely soon, just because being in them is emotional. But that's something that we're gonna do. Like, he taught me how to do these things, and now it's my turn to teach Wyatt and Raylan how to do these things. And what better project to work on than Papa's trucks that he loved, that he wanted them to have when they got older. So that was the man, the myth, the legend of Gary. He was something. You either loved him or you hated him.
But you loved to hate him.
But you loved to hate him. And once you were in, he would die for you. I mean,
once you were in, you were in.
Family was everything to him.
Yeah. And Gary didn't love everyone, but if he loved you, it's because you earned it. And he made you earn it. And thankfully, we had that kind of relationship.
Right. Gary and her knew how to pick each other's buttons.
He's my father-in-law.
Yeah. They knew how to get each other going. And it's so funny because before we get into you two, when I was growing up, we lived with my grandma and grandpa, which is my mom's parents. And so whenever Gary would come over, all he would do is poke my papa's buttons and get him riled up so he can get him in an argument. And then when I see these two, she was doing the same thing to him. And it was so funny. But his old saying, his favorite saying, he said, you can hate me today and we can get so mad at each other that we don't want to ever speak to each other again. But tomorrow, because we're family, we're gonna move on, we're gonna be best friends again. And that's how it always was. Now sometimes it took 2 days, but I mean, it's true. I mean, Gary just had this persona and it was amazing, and you didn't think he wanted to be bothered, you thought he always wanted to be alone, but when it boiled down to it, that was the furthest that he ever wanted. Yep. He always wanted us to be there. He loved his grandkids. So he loved everyone in his family, but his grandkids were everything. And you know, when we moved back from North Carolina, our dream was so they could have that relationship with their grandparents. And I guess in my head, we were always thinking long term, they're gonna be here forever. But now I'm thinking we got moved back here from North Carolina, so at least they had a few years with me. You know, I couldn't imagine if we were still there and we've missed 5 years of that relationship that we at least got to watch with Wyatt. And excuse me for sounding a little choked. When I think about Wyatt and him, that's kind of the hardest kicker.
That's where most of the hurt comes in.
Yeah, that and just walking in his garage.
Yeah.
It's like I said, he moved us in 2 weeks. We've talked about it before. We called and said, we're coming home in 2 weeks, and he made our house livable. All it was a shell. He put up walls, he finished the electrical that me and him were doing, put up insulation. Now, we had help from others, but he took off work and was ready to rock this thing and get us here. And that's just how he was. He would do anything for family. So.
Yeah. But we're okay. We're gonna be okay. Wyatt is okay overall. He's had a few rough times, but overall he's gonna be okay. I mean, he's completely surrounded by other grandparents and love, and he's starting to understand, you know, the long-term effects, and I think he's gonna be okay. Raylan's okay. You know, she's almost 4, so she kind of understands, but not too much. But she's sad, but you know, she'll understand more later down the road. Yep. But we're all gonna be okay.
That's exactly right. So after we get done talking, we're gonna share some pictures that we love of him. It's not gonna be the full shebang. My mom wanted us to do a slideshow, which we'll do that for like a Facebook, because there's gonna be all kinds of copyright music on it and everything. But we're gonna throw a few of our favorites up, just to see, so you all can see a little bit more of the man that no one else saw. Yeah. These weren't allowed on Facebook. These weren't allowed to be shared. He wanted them to keep them personal, and that was just kind of his thing. He didn't want too many people to know the soft side of him. Yeah. But now it's our turn to let you all know. So I hope you all enjoy that. Thank you all for being patient with us.
Thank you for all the prayers, all the support. Thank you for waiting on us, and it really meant a lot every day to have the messages and comments flowing in. That, you know, it's when you're going through a tough time, it's good to have that support, and you all gave that to us. So thank you so much. I hope we can always do the same, you know, for other people in this community and all of you. And we love y'all, and we thank you. And we're back now. We're gonna get back to our new normal, as we keep calling it, and we miss y'all. So get ready for everyday videos again, because we're back.
Her and I were debating on this video. I was like, should we just jump right in back to just the garden and stuff, or do we need to do this video? And I think we both agreed we needed to do this video for us to then be able to move to the next one. Yeah. And so we're ready to get back at it. Hopefully garden tour tomorrow. That's our plan. I've got to mow. The grass is up to my hips in some places. So we've got to give some attention back to this place. But like she said, back to daily videos. We try to do, I think it's 1 live on Monday night, which we missed for the first time since January. But we'll be back to that, and then we try to at least give you 4 to 5 videos after that. So stand by.
All right, we love y'all. We'll see you in the comments and tomorrow.
All right, bye y'all.
Brother, brother, don't you know, it don't matter where you go, bad news has a way to seek you out. You can change the pace, you can run and hide, but that don't change the folks outside. The world just has a bite, it's pretty stout. Righteousness won't fill your cup, your dues you don't just won't add up. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. Show them just what you're made of, and all your dreams will stand right up. It's all right there, just ready for the taking. You can snap those chains and be on your way. Guns blazing, guns blazing.